Hello, and welcome to Hot Takes that will probably get me canceled or make people not like me as much. And that's okay. Just kidding. I know you all fucking love me. So, faking evidence. There's been a lot of really angry things about people that other folks think that they're faking stuff. And it's very upsetting to the community. And my hot take is that I don't fucking care. Now, stick with me here. Stick with me. It's not that I don't care because I think that you should keep doing it, or that I do it, or that it's not damaging, but it's really not as big of a deal as I think people are making it out to be. So let's consider something like, and now this might be coming from left field, but let's consider where we're seeing this faking happening. We're seeing it predominantly on entertainment outlets. We're seeing it on YouTube. We're seeing it mostly in entertainment-based investigating, right? We're seeing it social media. We're seeing it in these places where the documentation is based solely on video capture and sort of this shock value that they're trying to create, right? And when I say I don't care, it's because it holds no bearing on any kind of research, experimentation, or documenting that I'm doing or that anybody is doing who's actually trying to create a field of study in the paranormal. Now, I'm not saying that anybody that does YouTube or that does blogging or vlogging or predominantly does a lot of their investigating on TikTok and they make a production out of it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because I think a lot of those outlets are what gets people interested in the paranormal. And I think the entertainment industry has a really big importance in bringing people into this field in order to possibly, further it into something. And also too, if you're just interested in the entertainment factor of it, cool, awesome. But then there's a whole other facet of the community that is actually doing this to further it as a field of study. You have people that are trying to figure out new methods, trying to figure out new ways to use, build, or utilize equipment. Ways that we can sort of create different ways of capturing this data and create experimentation that can not only be repeated a lot, but it can be reproduced and we can find results in a predictable manner, because that's how you create sort of this field of study, is that you recreate experimentation in a predictable way. When we think about something like the scientific method, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out these experiments, these hypotheses, and recreate this activity or these results in a predictable way every time in these environments. And so when it comes to a YouTube channel or a TikTok creator or somebody who posts videos for their social media and or for television, and they're doing something that you think is fake, they're not doing anything with experimentation or data capture. They're not. Next time you see something that you're like, wow, that's really fake and that's really harmful. Why is it harmful? Because if they're creating an experiment, they're gathering data, and then they're trying to repeat it with predictable results, you can't necessarily fake that. I mean, I'm sure there's ways that you can, but none of the entertainment outlets, paranormal wise, that are supposedly faking things are doing any of that. They're not trying to create experimentation. They're not trying to have controls in the space. They're not setting it up in a way that it makes it valid data for study. So I don't care. It's entertainment. And I'm really interested to sort of, if your answer to why it's wrong is for integrity reasons, then we have a lot to take a look at then in this industry, because there's a lot of sort of integrity red flags all over the place. And it's like, as long as you have integrity, don't worry about it. As long as you are doing what you need to do and you know your goals and you know what you're trying to do. Because I will say, if you're making content, if you are doing a show, if you have a YouTube channel, and you honestly want to document phenomena in a way that furthers the field as a scientific field of study, going to a location once isn't doing it. Coming in and just doing sort of methods here and there at this location, and then there's no repeatable process, there's no data documentation, there's no journal of your findings, you're entertainment. Now, you might be not faking entertainment, and that's awesome, that's great, that's fantastic, good for you. But you're entertaining. That's what you're doing. You're creating entertainment. And now, if you think that you are gathering groundbreaking evidence, you're not creating results that are predictable and repeatable, because it would make for a boring TV show. And like, I don't want you to do that. I enjoy watching all of these different places on television and watching these amazing and awesome, fun, super cool teams go to all these places and enjoy themselves and have fun and show passion for this field, because you guys have your place. You are what creates the interest. You're like the salesman to the, you're like the salesman, you're like the Walmart greeters to the most like vanilla, boring Walmart in the world. Because we all know that when you get into like the data documentation of it, it can have its exciting moments, but we all know that ghost hunting is fucking boring. So when you are doing these TV shows and these social media posts and these TikToks and these Instagram reels and things like that, and you're making it look fun and awesome and interesting, you are so important, because you are the people that are bringing those into this field to explore it and to discover it. And some of them are like, oh shit, this is boring, and they get out. And some of them are like, wow, this is really deep. It might be, it's not as exciting as I thought, but it's so interesting, and they'll stay in, and that's important. And to people that are faking the evidence for the views and the likes and things like that, I don't care. Like, you're not bothering me. You're not impeding my work. If you fake evidence at a location, it's not going to stop me from going there to run data. I don't care. I don't care about exposing. I don't care about calling out. Like, I care if you are doing that to get money, if you're ripping people off, if you are setting expectations, you're receiving monetary gifts, cash, free things, and you're benefiting monetarily off of it, because there are people like that in the community, and it's not about them faking it. That's the integrity issue. I don't care if you're faking it. I care if you're taking advantage of people. And I'm going to be honest. I know that there's a lot of arguments that people that fake evidence are harming people emotionally. If you are somebody who emotionally needs paranormal activity in order to find closure, you don't want anybody who's going to be telling you the truth, because there is likely not going to be the kind of truth that's going to make you feel like you have closure. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, to be honest. It's just like people, and I know a lot of psychic and medium friends who can probably attest to that. You have people that are addicted to psychics and mediums, and if you go to a psychic or a medium and they don't tell you what you want to hear, you go to another one. And if they don't tell you what you want to hear, you go to another one. And you go and you go and you go and you go until you find that person that's going to feed you all the stuff that you want to hear, so that you can have your closure, or you can have the answers that you want. And that's a very real thing. So, and that honestly there's no skin in the game for me when it comes to that. Because you have, and this is coming from somebody who has a background in, addiction, both myself and my family. When you want to pull away from something, you need that validation. You need other people to tell you. Just like I know a lot of addicts and a lot of alcoholics who will only hang out with other addicts and alcoholics because those people will not hold them accountable. So when it comes to, I digress. Faking evidence for clicks and views is such a silly thing to get really, really upset about, because it is not affecting those that are in the field that are actually creating controlled experimentation, documenting data, and putting together these ways that we can hopefully one day create scenarios that are predictable. You having a two-way radio in your pocket and doing, REM pod communication, that's not experimentation. That's not data. It's not. I mean, it's data, but that is manufactured, and you are not going to be able to create other experiments with that in mind that are predictable unless you have a two-way radio in your pocket. And there are so many ways that you can create a control that will factor out any false positives anyway. So if you want to get a whole bunch of attention and likes and clicks by having a two-way radio in your pocket, or not having your friend outside knocking on the walls, or it's a tale as old as time, these charlatans. That's what the paranormal was even based on, people essentially faking evidence. Even Ed and Lorraine Warren are guilty of it. Manufacturing. And whether it's this excuse me, nefarious intention of doing it on purpose, or if it's a subconscious manufacturing, because I think everybody is guilty of that. We want it so badly. We want it so badly that we will subconsciously manufacture these answers that we think that we're getting, whether it's from movement or from the floor creaking and we think that it's knocking, or we are talking and we're quiet and we hear that settling of the home and we're like, oh my gosh, oh, what was that? I have been in so many situations where I'm like, oh no, I'm pretty sure that's what this was. And people that I, highly respectable investigators will be like, oh, I don't know. And it depends on the day. It depends on the day for me. There are some times where I am so in the zone that I think that some of the activity that I'm getting is this profound stuff, and really it's like a chipmunk or something. So I don't care about faking evidence, because you can't fake real experimentation. And if you can fake results, it's going to be found out anyway, because an honest experiment with controls and everything in place should be repeatable with predictable results. And if I'm faking an experiment and I'm getting the results that I want, and then I have other teams that are doing that exact same method, that exact same experiment with those exact same controls, and they're not getting the predictable results, then it's thrown out the window. So you can't fake that. So focus on work like that. If people that fake stuff make you so angry, then start to work on putting together experimentation that can be repeated by other people and other teams and get the same results. That's repeatable. And that's going to be groundbreaking work. That's going to be what pushes this field forward. And if you're like, wow, that'll never happen, then just keep doing what you're doing. Because there are people out there that are trying to make that happen. And this is a tale as old as time when it comes to discoveries. Like, we may never see those kinds of results in our lifetime, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we should stop. But don't waste your time and your energy getting so angry if you're not doing the work that counteracts that. And that's not even like, you know, oh, shut the fuck up unless you want to do it. That's not what I'm saying. Do the work that counteracts the stuff that you're so angry about, because there's still a lot in this community that we should be mad about, and faking evidence isn't one of them. We still have, there's no certifying agency. What does it mean to be a paranormal investigator to you? Because it literally means nothing. Anybody can say, I'm a paranormal investigator, because they have a camera and they have a flashlight and they go into bandos and they're like, I'm a paranormal investigator. It doesn't mean anything. So let's stop trying to treat that like it's a certifiable, you know, title. There are people that are actively booking investigations for teams, taking their money and then not showing up at the location. It doesn't matter if they're giving refunds or not. That's a scam. That's irresponsible business practices. There are people that are taking money to do private investigations, like at people's houses. Like, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm going to be charging you $50 to come to your house and investigate your house. That's ew. There are people that are assaulting people at locations, making locations unsafe. There are people that are retaliating in the most weird and disgusting ways. There is so much hate and anger over topics and things that just don't matter, just because they don't like each other, or just because teams don't like other teams, or, you know, a team wants to be like an edgelord for their, you know, their city or their location. And there's so many things that we could be fixing that have nothing to do with like fucking kids on YouTube with two-way radios in their pockets. If you really think that impedes this work, I would love to know like what your stance is on that. If it's just personally offensive, I can't tell you that you're wrong, because there are a lot of things that personally offend me. But is it a hill that you want to die on? Or are there things that are actively hurting people that we should maybe be focusing on? But yeah. But I mean, if they're faking shit and taking money, then yeah, that's fucked up too. But I don't really care. Yeah. I don't know. I hope you guys still like me. I do kind of care. No, I don't care about that either. Love you. Bye.